This is the Mixtape podcast. I am your host, Mark. If you enjoy this week's episode, please feel free to rate it 5 stars wherever you listen to your podcasts. You can find over 140 archive episodes just by visiting themixtapepodcast.com. And there you will also find the link to my Mixcloud. On the Mixcloud channel, you can also hear the music that my guests pick for their mixtape. Also on the website are my social media links and YouTube channel. You can find all of that good stuff at themixtapepodcast.com. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope you enjoy this week's episode. Hello and welcome to today's mixtape for Radio Fremantle 107.9 FM. I am your host, Mark, and today I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by Al Jardine. How are you, Al?
I'm good, thank you. And yourself?
Very well, thank you. Very well. So excited for the show in Perth. That's happening at the Regal Theatre on the 25th of June. DavidRoyWilliams.com for tickets and info. But you're actually kicking off your Australian tour, Al, at the Sydney Opera House on the 23rd of June. Iconic venue. Yeah. You've played there before, though, right?
Yeah, we've been there about 4 or 5 times, I'm sure.
Yeah.
In the last 60 years, if you can believe that.
That is a long time to be touring, mate. With the Australian shows, Al, and the Pet Sounds Band, what can people expect set list wise?
Well, let's say we're going to play some Pet Sounds music, probably a half dozen songs from Pet Sounds, and maybe another half dozen or more from the Beach Boys Love You album, which is a very underappreciated album that we did in the 1970s. And then we're going to end up the show with all the hits that I'm sure you're all aware of, that you all heard before, a mixed batch. And I think you'll love it because this new band, the Pet Sounds Band, is an outgrowth of Brian Wilson's touring band called the Brian Wilson Band. So we've got all the original members coming down with myself, and we're going to put on quite a show. It's never been done before like this, having so many disparate and different parts from all of our careers put together in one show. So not even the Beach Boys have been able to do that. So this is going to be very, very deep cuts and a lot of hits.
Fantastic. That's what the fans love to hear, I'm sure. And your son used to tour with Brian Wilson's band. He's touring with this band as well?
Yes, he is. He's our mainstay. He's the Brian Wilson voice, as a matter of fact, that keeps it all together. Brian's voice is really important, obviously, to everyone, and especially to us. And he counted on Matt to complete the circle, because as you get a little bit older, your voice generally drops a few notes, and the edge isn't there anymore. So Matt was the edge.
Fantastic. And with the songs, Al, obviously you've been playing them for a long time. How do you stop the live experience for you personally becoming boring and less interesting? How do you keep it fresh after all this time?
Well, when you have a band like this, it motivates you. It's like riding an engine, like a big engine in a car. It's like jumping in the car and you've got this big engine. And that's what this band is like. It is absolutely amazing. We were down here before at the Blues Festival, Byron's Bay, a few years back. And so you had a chance to hear them then, and maybe even before that. But they're still with us. A couple of members are gone now, but for the most part, we still have the group intact. And that's what makes it so special. They're perfect.
And going back to sort of the real early days, Al, of the band, like when you were first sort of recording, and even up to like when you were doing Pet Sounds, did it feel like you were creating something historic and the legacy that you did create, or were you just in the moment, just going gig to gig, album to album sort of thing?
Yeah, it was really gig to gig, album to album. We didn't have much time to appreciate it. And although performing, when you have a hit record or any kind of music, really, when you think about it, that you love doing, it's great when you can hear it live on stage. When you can actually recreate it with your band, it comes alive again. And particularly this band, because it's note for note perfect. So yeah, it's a joy. It's a joy to do it.
Did you put a lot of work into that side of things, like making it authentic? Was that like a really conscious decision that you made?
At the time, we just began to expect it to be great because Brian he was on fire most of the time with almost everything we did. And so we were pretty lucky that we had that kind of musical genius at our disposal, because we didn't know how lucky we were. Let's put it that way. He made it look easy. He made it look easy.
Mm. Yeah, that was sort of the next leading into the next question I was going to ask you was like, Brian, obviously, the word genius gets thrown around quite a lot. What was it like working with someone like that day to day and seeing how he works up close?
Yeah, well, it wasn't work. I mean, it was joy, really. It was just a real treat. It was like, having your favorite dinner over and over and over again. It never got tiresome, though. It was generally very I don't know. When you look through the catalog and you try to analyze the music, it's quite complex, but made to sound very easy to digest or appreciate, I should say. And he knew how to write a good melody, a great melody, as a matter of fact, and always had a great arrangement, and was a great producer. So all of those things taken together, not to mention that he sang the lead vocals, kept it all for this high harmonies that now Matthew sings. It was a beautiful combination of factors.
And talking about the harmonies as well, Al, was that something that you really consciously worked on and had to work at, or was it something that really more organically came natural to you as a band?
Yeah, it seemed to come natural. I don't remember ever having a problem with it. With singing, it was so simple, really, when when I think about it, because Brian already had it figured out, right? So it was like playing, a sports, where you throw, the ball back and forth between you, or kick the ball and song. You just begin to know the right angle. I guess it's muscle memory, maybe. And we all had our particular intervals that we all sang at. Each guy carried a certain pitch. It was just like rolling, just what they say, rolling off a log. Some, you know what I mean?
Falling off a
You're
log, yeah,
familiar.
yeah.
Falling off a log. Except we stayed on top of the log.
Fantastic. As well, Al, I wanted to ask you about, obviously, technology has advanced massively since the Beach Boys were first recording in the early days. What do you think? Do you think the Beach Boys, if they were coming about now and recording their first albums now in with today's technology, do you think it would affect the sound of the band?
Oh yeah, because we had everyone has a different tone. I mean, sure, AI could probably produce some rather excellent, recordings, I imagine. Yeah, I guess you could create, if you take an existing vocal, which is what people are doing now, like separating the vocals out from their root notes. You could compose a new song with those in AI, but you'd have to be a Brian Wilson to write the arrangements, which is no AI is ever going to do that. We're talking about original music here.
Mm.
Yeah, you could copy anything.
I think we have a lot of discussions on the show about AI, and one of the things that always comes up is there's certain people that you just cannot replicate, like the likes of Bowie and Dylan and Brian as well. It's like the essence of who they are is the special thing, and there's no amount of technology or AI that will ever be able to recreate who that person is, and that's what that's why I think AI will never really fully sort of replace original music, because you'd always have people like that will stand out.
If you had someone with Brian's immense talent in a room with a computer these days, I'm sure his talent would still show. I mean, his creativity would still be evident, but the the quality of the vocals probably wouldn't be as interesting.
When all said and done, Al, and the curtain sort of finally comes down, what do you hope people feel when they listen to Beach Boys music?
Well, I imagine Carl would have said music of joy. That's how he would describe the Brian's music. And I would say, too, that it would bring joy to a brand new generation. Maybe right now there's a new generation coming up that'll appreciate the same thing over and over and over until who knows how long. It's very possible that it'll just go in infinitely, like your Bach and Beethoven and your Mendelssohn and wonderful Brahms, all those beautiful melodies. They don't stop. They just keep replicating.
You're listening to The Mixtape.
All right, Al. So as we mentioned at the start, and you mentioned the backdrop of my video, my show is called The Mixtape. And so what I like to do in the show is I like to ask guests to compile like an imaginary mixtape or compilation or playlist, if you like, of 6 songs. So I'll give you some categories, and I ask you to pick a song for each category. So the first category, Al, is an attention-grabbing song. What would you pick for an attention-grabbing song?
Well, the Skyliners, maybe. Since I Don't Have You, that's one of my favorites. Yeah.
What makes that an attention grabber for you, Al?
The lead voice.
Track 2 of the mixtape, Al, is what's a song when you're driving in maybe your little deuce coupe or whatever you're driving up and down in, or you're in the shower. What song do you like to sing when you're in the car or the shower?
Well, lately I've been singing Tom Dooley to myself.
Tom Dooley.
It's just not a very, yeah. It's kind of a weird Kingston Trio song that I've adapted into another song, and I just like the way the vocals sound. I like the quality of their vocals, so I try to sing like Bob Shane of the Kingston Trio.
And track 3, Al, is your favorite cover version. What's your favorite cover version?
I think it's "Runaway" by myself and the Lemon Twigs. It's a new group out of the Northeast in America called the Lemon Twigs. I don't know if you've heard of them, but they've got a big following here, and I enjoy singing with them on stage, especially doing "Runaway" by Del Shannon.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that the Del Shannon song? Yeah, fantastic. My dad was a big Del Shannon fan. I love Del Shannon. I always think of my dad when I hear Del Shannon. Track 4, Al, of your mixtape is what is a song you wish you could have played to your 18-year-old self? Can be from any era.
The MTA by the Kingston Trio.
And is that the Kingston Trio and Del Shannon, that sort of stuff? Was that what you were listening to when you were actually 18 now?
Yeah, that was the folk music was very big then, very, very big in the States, and Shannon was too.
Track 5 of your mixtape, Al, is a love song for a romantic interest. If you're making up a playlist or a mixtape for a romantic interest, what would you use for that?
Okay, "You Still Believe in Me" by the Beach Boys.
Has that ever worked for you, Al? Has anyone ever made you a mixtape with love song on it as a way of letting you know that they were keen, or have you ever done that for someone else?
I haven't actually.
Finally, Al, for the last track of your mixtape, it's a B-side or an album track or a song that's maybe a little bit underappreciated.
I like "If I Fell" by the Beatles.
What
by the Beatles. I love that tune.
Is that an album track?
Yeah.
What album's that from?
"Hard Day's Night."
Oh, Day's Night. All right. I'll just round it out, Al, with some tour-based questions. These are the same questions that I ask all the guests who come on the show. Do you have a pre-show ritual?
No.
Nothing. No sort of vocal warm-up or anything like that.
No. I'm told I should do that, but for some reason it never happens. Well, Carl and I used to do it actually. We had this operatic thing that Steve Miller from the Steve Miller Band gave us to do, and I just got tired of doing it. But every once in a while, I'll hear Matt do it in the hallway, and then I'll join him. Other than that, it's and also I meditate a little bit whenever I can. A transcendental meditation. I do a little, go inside, go within, and then try to come back out with a little energy, and that often helps.
What's on your tour ride?
Yeah, peanut butter.
Okay, smooth or crunchy?
Yeah, well, crunchy lately. Yeah, but that always has been on the menu. And also, my wife Marianne makes up a tea for me, a ginger tea with lemon, and it's wonderful. And that really helps my voice.
What's your favorite city to play live, Al?
City? I would say, well, Sydney sounds like a pretty good choice. I haven't been there in a while, but I really do. I really always enjoy being there.
Yeah.
When we're in Australia, obviously everybody loves Sydney and the Opera House. That's such a special place to play. That's my favorite right now.
And if you could time travel to see any concert in history, which concert would you choose?
That's a good question. Well, Gilbert and Sullivan, maybe in that wonderful music hall in London, the old Victoria. Yeah, a good old, what they call a light opera by Gilbert and Sullivan. There's a name for it. D'Oyly Carte Company.
And finally, in this section, who would be your dream collaborator? If you could collab with anyone or tour with anyone or write a song with anyone, who would it be?
Maybe John Sebastian from the Love and Spoonful.
Al, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you for the show, mate. Al Jardine and the Pet Sounds Band Australian tour kicking off on the 23rd of June at the Sydney Opera House. DavidRoyWilliams.com for tickets and info. And for Perth people, it's the 25th of June at the Regal Theatre in Perth. Al, it's been a genuine pleasure getting to chat to you, mate. Thank you so much for making the time and coming on the show. Safe travels down to Australia, and we will see you when you get here, mate. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Al.
Here.
Pleasure, mate.
All right.
Thank you. See you later on. Bye-bye.
Thank you. And work on that accent, okay?
Yeah, I will, mate. I will, yeah.
Thank you so much for listening to this week's mixtape. If you would like to get more from the mixtape, you can catch up with over 150 archive episodes by visiting themixtapepodcast.com. Also there you'll find links to the YouTube channel, my social media pages and my Patreon if you would like to get even more content that doesn't go out on the radio show or the podcast. You can secure your mixtape backstage pass. All of those links are available at themixtapepodcast.com. You've been listening to The Mixtape and I've been your host, Mark. Until next time.